Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Modern Customer Podcast, and I am your host, Blake Morgan, and it is the week of Thanksgiving. I have been counting my blessings lately. Do you ever find that you start getting in a rut and your mind goes a bit negative? Well, to counter that, lately, I am thinking of all the things I'm grateful for all the time. And especially those of you listening that have busy careers and you have little kids that need you, you find that your free time can just disappear. Or even if you have teenagers. And so I think it's so important to every day reflect on what you're grateful for and all the blessings that you have. I know it's easier said than done, but just by making this a habit every day, we can all be a little more grateful and happy. And this week, it is Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking about what I'm grateful for. And there is no shortage of tough stuff going on out in the world and bad news. And that requires you to manage your mind, to think in that growth mindset, to really think about your blessings, whether that is how you feel about your family, your work, your friends, your colleagues, or your customers. So today we're doing something a little bit different on the podcast. We're just having a little conversation about 6 ways to show your customers that you are grateful. Customers can feel if you want them or not, because everybody who listens to this podcast every week, you can tell as a customer when you go into a retail store and you are not greeted, or you call a contact center and the agent just seems apathetic to your challenges. You can feel that, and that's the culture of the company. Last week on the show, we had Trisha Griffith, the CEO of Progressive Insurance. And this is one of the more customer-centric insurance companies out there. You can tell it's because of the culture that Trisha has built, where she is one of these CEOs that listens to customers in the call center. She goes and visits agents out in the field. She is not in her office. She is out having lunch on the floor with employees, and anyone at Progressive can ask for 15 minutes of her time, and she will give it to them. How does she do this? I don't exactly know, because she says it's not operationalized, but she just makes herself available, and she makes that customer focus a big part of how she leads. And she quadrupled Progressive Insurance's stock price in the 6 years she's been there. So gratitude is a real thing, and it matters that customers can feel that we're grateful for their business, that we're excited to serve them, that we have the energy to deliver the experience to them that will make them want to come back. So my quick 6 tips for you today on how to show customers you're grateful. And if you're in the US, it's Thanksgiving this week. Number 1, first interaction or call resolution. Have you ever called the call center and you end up having to make 10 more calls because that initial touch point wasn't enough? The whole point of everything that I do and that I talk about is to teach everyone in business that making efficiencies is so important. How do you do that? Well, if you want to focus on first interaction or call resolution, which is something every customer wants because they don't want to be on the phone for long amounts of time or having to call back again and again. The way to increase first call resolution is to equip your agents with the technology and the decision-making power that they need to be able to solve a customer problem. And this makes them feel good, because what contact center agent wants to show up for work not really able to help anybody? I know a lot of you out there, you're contact center leaders, you are having trouble finding people to fill the seats to do these jobs because people don't want to work in contact centers anymore. They don't want that negative interaction. But if you have a contact center that has a Zappos kind of energy, where the agents are treated like royalty, where they're given the tools they need to do their job, they're given flexibility, they're given authority to be able to help a customer, that will all help not just your first call resolution rates, but also the culture of your contact center, your ability to attract and retain talent. Number 2, talk to your contact center agents. One of the most valuable things you can do is to understand what's happening in the contact center. And the contact center is like this amazing treasure chest, and it's right in your garden, but you don't see it because you walk by it every single day, rushing to get to your car to go to work. But for those that understand that the contact center is this gold mine of insights, there's so much wealth and value in that contact center. But we have to be willing to talk to our contact center agents, talk to our frontline workers. That is how some of the most customer-focused companies, the most innovative companies on the planet, like Sephora, that's where they get their best ideas. Like those of you that know Sephora know they have a digital artist that you can try makeup on through augmented reality. They were the first to do this, and they got that idea, the chief technology officer told me, through feedback from people working in the Sephora stores that said, oh, customers don't want to try 10 lipsticks on and get their hands dirty, and then they don't know what they tried on. Enter augmented reality that solved all those problems. Number 3, invest in technology so agents can do their jobs. Did you know that agents generally have about 40 windows open at one time? If you find that your handle time is long, that's because your contact center agents are wading through tons and tons of bad software. And they shouldn't have 40 windows open. They should have one view of the customer. That would make the customer feel they had one experience with the brand. So number 3, invest in technology so agents can do their jobs. Number 4, if you outsource your contact center or any other related thing like a credit card, the partner has to match your brand identity. The partner has to exude the values and the voice of your brand. I'll give you an example. I recently opened a credit card for a major department store that I really love. I love to buy beautiful clothes. Sometimes I see you guys at conferences and you notice I have a lot of colorful dresses. It's part of my job to look professional. So I spend a lot of time shopping for clothes. And so I thought I'll just open a credit card with this department store. And the reason I opened the credit card was because I really wanted 20% off and I was going to make a really large purchase with that discount. Well, time went by and I never got the credit card in the mail. And it was really strange. And then I got an email from the credit card partner that, yes, indeed, I had opened a credit card. It did work. Because when you sometimes do these things, it's very confusing if your credit was high enough, you got the credit card. It's just a very disjointed user experience at times, customer journey. So I got this random email that I did have this credit card. And so when I called the contact center to get a new card sent to me, excited to go spend money and shop and get more of those outfits and those dresses you guys see me in at conferences, they told me that I was not any longer eligible for the 20% discount to open the card. Well, I felt as a customer, it wasn't my fault that I didn't receive the credit card. And I was very disappointed that I didn't get that 20% off. Well, it didn't matter who I spoke to, the agent or the manager, I was not getting that 20% discount. In retrospect, I realized it wasn't the department store that I was speaking with. It was some third-party contact center or company that managed for the brand. Now, I was so frustrated that I didn't get this discount, which was the promise initially, that I decided to just cancel the credit card. And so they lost a customer that probably would have spent in her lifetime thousands and thousands of dollars with the brand. But because of this not delivering on the promise that I didn't get the 20% off, and the agent and the manager were not nice about it, they weren't willing to make an exception. I just felt so betrayed almost because I was so excited about this purchase that I decided to cancel. They could have definitely saved the relationship had they had the authority to make an exception or call the main brand, but they clearly did not care. They were just obviously doing the job. So that's a red flag to any of you that have third-party outsourcers. Please make sure that they are trained on how to talk to customers. Maybe they're given a little bit of breathing room if something goes wrong with an interaction. It matters because I'll never buy that credit card ever again, and I'll probably go with other department stores. Number 5, say-do ratio. If you want to show you are grateful to customers, you have to do what you say you're going to do. And it reminds me of Trisha Griffith, my interview last week. Hurricane Ian just really was rough on Progressive Insurance. I think they lost $1.4 billion from that hurricane in losses. Trisha Griffith sent 1,500 insurance agents to Florida after the hurricane to send helpers out there to get people back on their feet. In insurance, most insurers are not excited to pay out customers that are in need, but it's that say-do ratio. Do we do what we say we're going to do? Do we fulfill on the promise? Or do we make excuses as to why it won't work? That's related to my last tip, number 6. Don't dupe customers. No small or fine print. Don't trick them into hidden fees or long complicated contracts where they're going to walk into a situation where they didn't know that was part of the contract. And I just love the idea of simplicity, of making it very clear to customers what you stand for. And that's why I think even so many telecom providers today, like Mint Mobile, Ryan Reynolds brand, are coming out and saying, we are not going to dupe you. We are not going to lock you into contracts or hidden fees or make things difficult just to make a buck today. We're going to actually differentiate on being exactly who we say we are. No small print, no hidden fees, no duping. So hopefully you are the brand that is differentiating on fulfilling that brand promise, where you take a stand and say, I am not going to trick customers because I wouldn't want to be treated that way. I wouldn't want my kids to be treated that way. I wouldn't want my mom or my grandma to be treated that way. And that's why business is very simple, but it's gotten so complicated in our efforts to make those quarterly profits, to hit the metric that we're losing sight of our customers and we're forgetting to be grateful for each and every customer. So in sum, there are 6 ways to be grateful for customers this holiday season. Number 1, focus on first call resolution and first interaction resolution. Make sure the frontline workers have what they need to be able to solve the customer's problem quickly. Number 2, talk to your contact center agents. There is a treasure chest in the contact center, but only for those that are willing to recognize it. Number 3, invest in technologies so agents can do their jobs. I hope your contact center agents don't have to work really, really hard just to find the data that they need. Invest in technology to make that seamless, zero friction experience for the agent. The customer will feel it. Number 4, if you outsource your contact center, please make sure that the partner matches your brand identity. You want the partner to treat the customer just like you treat them. And I'm recording this in my home studio, so if you hear a dog snoring and barking, that's the new reality, guys. So anyway, number 5, do what you say you're going to do. Don't put lipstick on a pig. Make sure you're the person, you're the brand that follows through. If you say you're going to help the customer, you write it down to contact them back. Because how many of you as customers have had the experience where they say, oh yeah, we'll call you back. We'll make sure that you will follow up, and nobody ever does. Be the one that follows up. Number 6, no small print, no duping customers or tricking them into hidden fees or contracts. So these are my 6 ways to show customers you're grateful this holiday season. What are the ways that you show customers you're grateful? Send me a note, blake@blakemichellmorgan.com. And if you'd like to listen to the episodes I mentioned in this podcast, the Trisha Griffith Progressive Insurance or the Mint Mobile. We will include those in the show notes. And wishing all of you in the U.S. a wonderful Thanksgiving, and all of you all over the world a beautiful end of year holiday season. Thank you for tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm so grateful for you, every one of you that allow me to do this amazing job. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.